Hello, this is Daniel Martin, and today I'll be doing a video on the fact that Frank Darabont, the former showrunner of The Walking Dead, basically dissed The Walking Dead in a recent interview that he told Variety. Um, yeah. Beforehand, if you guys are paying attention to the background, yes, it is my closet again. Um, yeah. Why am I using my closet? Basically, it's Thanksgiving, so families here, some of them are sleeping. You know the drill. You're sleeping in your room, now you have to put a video somewhere else. Best place to think of, honestly. It's worked in like a previous or two previous videos, so yeah, it's all good. So yeah. Uh, so Frank Darabont gave an interview or did an interview with Variety, and when asked what he thought if he still watched Walking Dead, he said, "Oh God, no! Why would I?" He says, "If the woman you loved with all your heart left you for a Pilates instructor, you just and just sent you an invitation to the wedding, would you go?" He continues, "There's a deep commitment and, and emotional investment that happens when you create something that is very near and dear to you, and and when that is torn asunder by sociopaths who don't give a shit about your feelings or the feelings of your cast and crew because they have their own reasons to screw everybody, that doesn't feel good." A pretty funny quote, especially the comparison between his relationship with the Walking Dead and that to of a guy who likes some girl and then goes off with the Pilates instructor and then gets married and the invitation, all that odd comparison, but kind of works. Um, and I understand where he's coming from, cause it's basically like he put all his time and effort into something, and then um basically the not the producers of The Walking Dead, more like the AMC, the people at AMC who control The Walking Dead, they basically screwed him and fired him. And the comparison will be like the girls, the Walking Dead AMC people who control it, and the Pilates instructors, him getting fired, and the guy in love is Darabont. Is basically that when you think about it, and I understand where he's coming from because he put all his time and effort into the thing, and just to get fired. And honestly, I mean, and he did all of the first season basically, and then half the second season. And personally, in my opinion, I honestly think that in the first season and half the second season, um, there's more emotion in those episodes. There's stronger bonds between the characters. You felt more for the characters when they died. Um, yeah, you got to know them even if they're just there for one episode, and you actually felt bad for them despite even with the apocalypse, you felt even a little bit extra bad for them because of whatever situation they are. I mean, for example, the people at the nursing home in Atlanta in Vatos, how bad for them because they're like right there in the middle of the city. They're protecting the elderly, and you know they had like a few guns. Probably have had to kill people to get whatever they need. But that's apocalypse, so you gotta do what you gotta do. And you felt bad for them, and even that you felt bad for Morgan and his wife, and he couldn't put down his zombified wife. You felt you felt bad for Morales, and you felt a little bit bad for Morales, and the fact that now he's going to Alabama to find his possibly undead family or dead family or whatever family he has left, and Alabama. You felt bad for Sophia, Otis. Who else is there? You know, when Otis dies and you see Patricia, that emotion, you see that, which is their bond. You see how Shane is slowly getting unhinged and going to the dark side. You see that emotion. You see the destruction between the bonds of Rick and Shane, and you see the love triangle between Lori, Shane, and Rick. You see all the emotion, you feel all that badness, you feel the sorriness for them, you feel the bond between the characters, and it feels more real than how it's lately been. Because lately with Genpo, which who did the second half of season two, and all the three, and now with Mazar, not Genpo did all is currently doing season four. Mazari did all of the second half of two and did all of three. They didn't feel the emotions. They still felt real. They just not as real as they should have been, or as they could have been. There were some very emotional scenes still in season three, part of season two, and part of season four. Whatever we have so far, season four. For example, the Lori death, the Shane death, Merle's death. Let's see. Oh, what else? Herschel's leg getting cut off. Now it's to an extent though. Let's see in season four. Um, the confrontation between Bob and Daryl. If you know what I mean, in after the veterinary hospital. With the alcohol incident. Was the governor finding the family, the Chalmers family, with Megan, Lily, and April, and then what's the other guy's name? Um, Don, I believe was his name. No, David. David. Um, the death of David Chalmers, and the interaction between Megan and the governor, and then the Martinez death. That was a bit of an emotional part. You still have those emotions, but they don't seem as they still seem they just don't seem as good as they should have or could have been. Than if not Glamor's or Darabont were to have done them, whereas Darabont's emotions were emotional status ways were between Genpo's and Mazara's. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, I understand, and that's his style. He wants it to be emotion. Because Mazara, he wants it to be more actiony. And Genpo, he combines those two. So all three of them have their own style, but out of all of them, I honestly say Mazara's is the best. But that's because I like action. But honestly, I do respect Darabont's Darabont's ways and with the emotions. And honestly, I think I would prefer emotions over actions at certain points, which which is a real which is something that was very hard for me to watch during season three because during the most emotional parts or where there should have been more emotion, um, Mazara didn't control that. He didn't put as much emotion as there should have been. Gimpo, he's still learning the ropes, so we still don't have that much emotion yet. Um, and yeah, so I feel there was more emotion during Darabant's run, but I mean, honestly, he's a very close second to Mazzaro, but I like action, so what you gonna do? But honestly, if we were putting this on a scale of 100, 1 to 100, Mazzaro would be 75. Um, Darabont would be 74, and Gimpo would be 60 something, 65. You know, respectively. On a 100 scale for each three of them. Mazzari 75, Darabont 74, and Gimpo 65. And if that way, you know, they're very close second. I like them very both. Sorry, I like them. Well, what am I saying? Okay, I like Mazzara and Darabont style a lot. Both. Gimpo's kind of shaky at times. Yeah. But yeah. And honestly, when you think of it, AMC basically screwed him cause in season one had 6 episodes, six. Days Gone By, Guts, Tattoo to the Frogs, Vatos Wildfire, and TS19. Okay, that was season one, and then in season two you had, let's see, it was six, not 16. That was season three. You had 13 episodes. I believe it was 13. Yeah, it was 13 episodes, and they were what lies ahead: blood doubting, or bloodletting. How do you say that? Whatever. Save the Last Ones, Cherokee Rose, Chupacabra, Secrets, pretty, pretty much dead already. Nebraska, Trigger Finger, 18 Miles Out, Judge, Jury, and Executioner, Better Angels, and Beside the Dying Fire. 13 episodes. Yet, season 2 had a lower budget than season 1. I don't know by how much, but I do know that season 2 had a lower budget by season 1, and that way they basically screwed him. And then they decided to fire him basically right up to pretty much Dead Already. Pretty much Dead Already, Nebraska, right around there, right around those 2 episodes. They basically fired him, and then not only that, then they basically also fired Jeffrey Demon, however you pronounce his name, which is Dale, because he quit, and because he's basically like Darabont's best friend. So there, you just lost Dale, a key character from the comics that came into the book. Yeah, he was a bit of a wuss in TV, but still, he was a great character. Didn't really like his death, kind of a wussy kill, which is another way they basically screwed him. They gave maybe his best friend the most wussiest kill ever. I'll probably do a. I may or may not do a thought video on Dale's death, but that's after I finished all of season two. You know, on season two reviews for each episodes, but that's gonna be like in, I don't know, a long time. So get, whatever. So in that way, they basically screwed him. So that's why you feel bad for the guy. So yeah, they practically fucked with his emotions. Um, Basically they lowered his budget. Then they fire him. Then they fire his best friend. Actually, technically, Jeffrey Demon quit, and then they just gave him a worse kill. So fire, quit type of thing. And yeah, I mean that's when you feel bad for them. Like, yeah, and his direction was pretty good because he was like, it was basically qua- quality over quantity, because he wanted more quality in the characters than the quantity of actions there was, if that makes sense. So his direction was also pretty good. Yeah. I mean, it's a shame they had to let him go. If he were not let go, how would the direction of the Walking Dead would have been? Maybe it would have been more emotional. Maybe, you know, maybe we would have had some emotion when T Dog died. Because his death had a bit of emotion, but not as big, because he wasn't as fully developed. To be fair, and just in season two, when you thought he was about to get developed, they they take him off, and then we have all the action with Mazara. Then he's not developed. Now he's just a token black guy. Um. So yeah, and that's see. So T Dog becomes a token black guy because of that too. Because he seems, because right around, I want to say right around Secrets, Chupacabra Secrets, T Dog seems to start getting a little bit developed. But no, they had to fire Darabont, and now T Dog dies as being the token black guy, only having heroic death by saving Carol. And yeah, his death was, yeah. I mean, because we didn't have that much emotion, but he did have a heroic death at the end, so I guess it all turned out good for him. Well, except for the fact that he dies. but whatever. So that's my thoughts on the fact that Frank Darabont basically dissed The Walking Dead and the AMC people who control Walking Dead. Well, this is Daniel Marr. Comment below, subscribe, tell your friends, families, neighbors, share on Instagram, Vine, Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, um, however you guys want to share it. And good night.